Hi, okay, for part 5-5, more of the revolve command. And this time round, slightly different. Yes, I'm going to project over, I'm going to revolve over this profile. Okay, I'll draw out this profile minus less the boss, and so it will just be where my mouse is moving through. Okay, straight across. And then I'll draw a center line and I'll revolve about that center line. Okay, hole wizard is not new, right? We've used hole wizards to create through holes to create counter ball, but we are going to explore trying to create threaded holes with the hole wizard. Okay, the offset plane concept will be practiced here together with the ribs to create this rib. Circular pattern as well, right? Will be used. Yep. So how did I go about doing this part? Okay, so let's just see. The way I started with or started this part was I revolved it like this. Okay, and I sketched the profile that I sketched was pretty much like this. The profile that I sketched was like this, right? Without the boss. Okay, without the boss. Sketched it out. Then what else did I sketch? I created the chamfer. I settled the fillets early on. Then I did the boss. From the boss, I did the fillet, cut through a hole, and then I used circular pattern to replicate it all around. Then I generated a rib. I had to offset a work plane that's over here. Okay, I have to offset a work plane, and then I do a boss extrude. After the boss extrude is done, the last step is to create a threaded hole. Okay, so you can see it's a threaded hole over here, and the threaded hole is M6. Right, so without further ado, I'm going to start. And I'll start off with the front plane. Okay, looking at how it is done, I would use my uh, origin as the starting point. I'll draw a center line, and this is the line at which it's going to revolve. I approximate the distance of the line, and then I draw, sorry, I click on the align icon, but I don't start sketching immediately. I sort of trace upwards, and if you focus your attention to the bottom right hand corner, this region here where the number moves, it actually, if you move your mouse over here and to the orange dot, you'll see everything is 0, 0. And now I'm moving up along the y-axis, and you can see that I'm approximately now 12 millimeters at the y-axis. Now, you need not draw exactly at 12 millimeters. Actually, the idea is to draw it approximately 10, but I'll just move right around there so that I can start off my sketch with the approximate distance so it doesn't go too far off. Okay, and what I do is I approximate my outer diameter. So the diameter is 20. Okay, the hole is 20, sorry, and the outer diameter is 32. Okay, 32. So that makes that would make this approximately 6 millimeters in height. Okay, so I'll give it an approximate distance and then I'll click onto it. Okay, and then this goes in by if you look at the drawing, right, um, that distance is approximately 40 minus 11, so it's 29, approximately 29 millimeters. So what I'll do is I'll move in 29 millimeters approximately, right? Because I'm going to dimension that out. Then it goes up, okay? It goes up, and you can see that this is actually the absolute distance if you train your eyes to the bottom, right? And I'll go up approximately to 50 millimeters, okay? Because the outer diameter of the entire disc is diameter 100, okay? And then I go across, the thickness is about 8 millimeters, so I much lesser, 8 millimeters. Then I come down, and it's just approximate over here. Then I have a step, and I come down, and I go back in again. But this time around, I intentionally move it past. I don't want to put it here so that it will be aligned. I move it past a little bit so that it can be a little bit unequal. And then make this distance, okay? Then it comes down at an angle, right? At an angle. And then there is this small bit of distance, and I close the loop, okay? Now, this is only an approximate sketch. The dimensions are not all out there yet. So what happens is this is the time where it is a little bit tedious, and you may need to look at the drawing carefully to figure out the distances, okay? And what we'll do is like it's like knitting. We will add all the dimensions bit by bit until the whole sketch is fully constrained. So 10 millimeters because the hole is diameter 20, okay? And this one is 16 millimeters because the outer diameter is 32, okay? Uh, the edge from here to here is 40 millimeters. This distance here is 8 millimeters. Now, as you're dimensioning, if things go a little bit out of proportion, you can just adjust them for your convenience sake, right? You can just adjust them lightly first so that you could add the dimensions later. Okay, then I just follow through, and this here is 50, right? And this, from this top edge to the bottom here, this dimension is 33 because the outer diameter is 66. All these dimensions are found in the end view over here. Okay, so I make use of all these dimensions. I divide it into two because these are radiuses or diameters. I divide it into two because I'm only drawing half of it. Okay, so the next thing is the bottom segment here. This is to this side here, and the dimension for this should be 28. 5, 6, 7, 8, 28. Yes. From the top edge to this surface is 5 millimeters. So follow the dimensions according to the drawing and then let it guide you along the way, and you will find that eventually you will complete your whole entire drawing. Okay, from this edge to this surface is 12 millimeters. Okay, so you can put here 12. Enter. Right. Let me adjust my dimensions so that it doesn't get too overly confusing. Okay, there is a 5 millimeter step here, and so I need to pull this out a little. Yes, and yeah, that's a 5 millimeters. But from this edge, right, from this edge to the flat face is actually 3 millimeters. Okay, where did I get this from? It's all from the drawings. If you look very carefully at the drawing, you'll see that the step here to the flat edge here is 3 millimeters. So you need to spend some time looking at the drawing, studying it, and trying to understand it as you are drawing it along. So more or less, most of it is being constrained except for this blue line over here. So there is this tip that is not dimensioned, and it is diameter 36. So it's 18, right? So I need to select this. To here, it is 18 millimeters. 18 millimeters, and this one here is 32. Okay, 32, and that's 16. So I mentioned this is here, and this will be 16 millimeters. Okay, And once it's fully constrained means, yep, you are good to go. Your sketch is good, right? And you will revolve around this center line. Okay, so I'll exit my sketch, features, revolve base, and since that's the only center line that exists, they've auto selected it for you. You accept it, and this is what you have. Okay, now from like what I said before, I handle the small little features first so that I don't forget them. There is a chamfer, and the chamfer is 2 millimeters by 45, so I follow the distance and the angle, 2 millimeters by 45. Then there are the things that I want to take care of are the radiuses. There are a lot of unspecified radiuses to be at 3 millimeters. So I know I may have to do them again later on when more features are added, but I just want to take care of them as I proceed. Okay, so that I don't lose sight of it. Okay. Now, after this is done, it's more or less that. Got the radius too. I will proceed to create the boss. Okay. So what happens is that this is the front plane. I'll create a sketch and I'll sketch on the right plane. Okay. And I will align myself to the right plane. Okay, and I'm facing it correctly. And what I'll do is that I will draw the circle directly above the center, right? I use the line to trace it, and let's see if they constrain it. They didn't constrain it. So if they didn't constrain it, you have to do it. So you click Control, select this dot, and you make it vertical. Okay. The next thing that you have to dimension is the diameter, right? And the diameter of the boss is diameter 12. So you put your diameter 12. And then from here to the center, right, it lies on a pitch circle diameter of diameter 80 and 40. Okay, right, and then I will, I made a mistake. Very journal mistake. Can you see that? Yes, I sort of presumed that my front plane, my front plane was the plane that I want to sketch that, but actually I need to sketch on this surface, right? So what I need to do is exit the sketch and I will delete this sketch. Although I can transfer the sketch to a different surface, but since I'm early on in the sketch, I can just do this. I need to select this surface instead, okay? There, all right, because I'm drawing on this surface. So uh, draw a circle, and I purposely put it off center so that I'll select the center and the origin, and then I'll align it vertically. Thereafter, I will select the circle, and it will be diameter 12, right? Diameter 12, and the distance to the center, the radius is 40. Okay, then features, extrude base, this will be 3 millimeters, and I will put a fillet of 3 millimeters over here. Click accept, and then I will create another sketch plane on this surface. And after a while, you realize that once you get used to sketching at a isometric view or 3D view, you can, after a while, you get used to this and you can start drawing on that, right? So it's diameter 6, enter, and then I extrude cut the hole. Okay, you could use hole feature for this, but since it's a simple hole, I thought why not just create a simple hole by drawing a circle, right? Now once this is done, I will do my linear pattern, but instead of linear pattern, it's a circular pattern. And the circular pattern, the direction that you need to choose, or the axis that which it rotates about, is this axis. Okay, the number of instances is 4, equal spacing. And what are the features that you would be rotating about? It would be this boss, it would be the fillet, and it will be the cutout, the hole. Okay, once that's done, select OK and check your drawing and it's okay. So this is the circular pattern that you want to generate, all right, together with the boss and the through holes that are shown in your 2D drawing. Okay, now that you are over here, the top plane lies in the center of the circle. You want to create another plane, and I have to flip the direction because it's on the other side, and that distance is offset by 25 millimeters, and that's shown in the drawing's end view. Okay, the end view tells a lot of things, right? From the center axis to the flat of the protrusion or the lug. They have a lug over there, and it is 25 millimeters to the center axis, and that's how I want to create my work planes such that it matches the drawing. Okay, the distance is 25, enter, and select. Once I'm done, I select this as my sketch plane, right? And I can sketch. I'm going to reverse the sketch so that it's visible. And what I'll do is I'll draw a circle slightly off center, right? So that I will then align it to the origin and make sure that it is horizontal. Then I'll draw the circle. And the radius of this is not known, but from the front view, you can see that the width of the lug is 16 millimeters. So actually the diameter of it is 16 millimeters. That's something that you can assume. Okay. Then the distance, yes, I need to dimension the distance of the center of this circle is actually dimension to the flat of the flange, okay, which is here, and this is 16 millimeters. So notice how when you have all your dimensions called out, right, and dimensioned accurately, you'll see that the outline gets converted from a blue to a black, and that makes it fully constrained. So that's something very important to do. Next thing is to draw a line across, and you need to make sure that you snap to the correct oops, it's at an angle, so I want to make sure that it is horizontal. It goes across, and over here it's a horizontal line. Okay, and then what I'll do is I will trim the circle, and then there I have this feature out sketched, and it's shaded, means it's ready to be extruded. Okay, that means it's a successful closed loop. I will extrude it to next, that means to this surface, and you need to ensure that this new extrusion is merged to the main part. Okay, if you uncheck this, what will happen is that this will be created as a standalone part that is not that is not included and united to this part. So always ensure that this is checked. Okay, so this will be created. Now once this is done, right, and you have that surface, you can actually hide the work plane so that it's a lot clearer for you to use. And the last feature, or not last feature, sorry, there's one more feature to add, and that is the threaded hole. So how do you go about doing this? I will go to the hole wizard, right, and select the positions, and I'll select this corner. Oh, sorry, let me do that again. Select the surface, move my mouse to the circumference, and snap it to the center. Okay, now the type of hole will be a threaded hole, so you select it, ISO, and you need to select this as a tab hole, and this is M6. You want to show custom sizing. Okay, actually maybe not necessary, the end conditions more importantly. It's a blind hole, right? So the depth at which the threaded hole is drilled to is 10 millimeters. right? 10 millimeters. So I need to write here 10. And the thread depth is 6 millimeters, so it's there. Okay. This is how you will be represented. You will show the cosmetic threads with thread callouts. And once that is done, you are good, and you click the green tick to accept the threaded hole. So you'll see an outer circle, and that represents the threaded diameter, and this diameter will be M16. The inner diameter, usually, if according to ISO standards, it will be 0.8 multiplied by the outer diameter, which is 16. But you don't have to be worried about this because they would have generated it for you. Okay. Now, if you realize your threaded hole could easily be confused with a through hole or a normal hole, right? If not for the outer diameter. So to make your representation clearer, what you can do is you can go to the settings, the options, sorry, select your options, go to document properties. Under document properties, you need to go to detailing, and you need to check this shaded cosmetic threads. Okay, once that's shaded, accept it, and by clicking OK, and you'll notice that they will shade the cosmetic threads. So this is just I wouldn't say a gimmick, but a feature that they use to help you identify that yes, you have placed a threaded hole over here. All right. Now, for the last and final feature to add, it would actually be my would actually be my rib. Okay. So I select this, put my mouse here, and ensure that this snaps to here. Okay. And what I do is I will take a dimension, and I'll dimension this to the vertical angle, and this would be 60 degrees. Okay, select this to the let me see, is there a distance in which they yes, it's not here, it's actually this distance to the center. Okay, the distance to the center is 28. And that's a very, very close estimate. So once it's fully constrained, I can escape from the sketch. Okay, I have just drawn just one line, and with that one line, I'm able to create my rib. Okay, my rib. Uh, the rib diameter, the rib di no, it's rib diameter. Sorry, the rib width, the width of the rib is it written there? The rib is rotated as well. Huh? Yes. So actually, um, I wouldn't want to create it on the top feature here. I would create it over on this side or this side so that I could rotate the rib as well. Okay, so let me escape from this sketch. I'll delete this sketch. Okay, and I will create my rib on a different work plane. Apologize for that. Here, this is the one, the top plane. Okay, and the rib will span from this line to here. Okay, it's just an approximate angle first, right? And it is from the vertical axis to the angle to the rib to the flange surface is 60 degrees. Okay, and then this distance to the center, this one is 25 degrees. Okay, now when this is done, I will generate my rib, going over to the exit the sketch, going over to the rib, and the width of the rib is 6 millimeters. Okay, 6 millimeters. The direction of the rib, this time around, you see the arrow is pointing out. So if you were to click generate now, you would create an error like this. Okay, So what you need to do is you need to flip and make sure that the arrow is pointing to the inside. That means it will be depositing material in this region here. And that's when you click accept as well. Okay, I think they had an error. Let me try and troubleshoot. 6 millimeters is okay. Go by 6, enter. Let's just see if I can create this again. The root did not intersect the existing model. Please try changing the extrusion direction to fix the problem. No. Okay, so sometimes when you run into problems like this, you would need to check through. And if there is a rebuild error like this, right, what we do is we exit the command, check through your sketches. So you edit your sketch, check through your sketch, make sure that it is constrained and it's in coincident to the outline, that it is okay. And then try that rip command again. Okay, try the rip command again. Flip the material, is 6 millimeters, and then you try and generate it again. And this time around I could do it, right? So the first time around it failed probably because I will flip the material the other way around and I tried to generate material, but then when I unflip it and try to generate the rib, it sort of has the bug of remembering the previous selection. Okay, so that's something that you need to work on to help. Yeah. So yes, adding in the fillets. Okay, for the rib actually has fillets. Okay, and because if you see the front view, it has got legs coming out like that, and that indicates that there is actually a fillet radius going on over there at the edges. So what you need to do is select this, and you will naturally select the entire edge. Okay, right, then you accept this, and this is what it looks like. Okay, so this is what the rib will look like. The next thing is to do a circular pattern, right? And it is, I only need 3 features over 180 degrees. All right, and the features that I want to create are the rib and the fillet. Okay, ensure that the geometry pattern is selected. Okay, and then you generate it. Some error again. Select an angular dimension. Yes, you need to select how it rotates about. So this is how I want it to rotate about, and then I select it, and there I go. Of course, there is also the the radius that you need to create on for your lug over here. So I need to enter in again the fillet radius of 3 millimeters, and I need to select this edge here. Okay, and you will automatically choose the adjacent edges and make them fillets as well. Okay, so once this is done, you are complete. Okay, you are complete for part 5-5. Till then, I'll see you again. I hope you enjoyed this little video. It shows several missteps and how I recovered from it. So I hope yeah, you are able to unlock yourself if you ever run into some of these problems that you see. It's very common problems amongst modelers. Sometimes we are faced with bugs, and if you do it often enough, you sort of know how to make something like a slight detour or a go around to solve the problem. Okay, thank you very much, and see you again soon. Bye.